Well, good afternoon and welcome back to the Little French Homestead. If you are new here today, welcome. My name is Sherry. Today we're going to be making up some dry mixes. Now, we have used all of our dry mixes here in our house, and I've had to sit there and just rely on doing some plain white rice, and my family was kind of getting me on it. So I says, well, let me go ahead and make another video to go ahead and do these particular rice mixes. Now, on some of my videos, you will see that I use my dry rice mixes, and I've said here they are. But I'm gonna go ahead and give you another video just so you can go ahead and still kind of follow along. These are the very basic, simple ones. So I've got chicken, I got beef, we have an onion, a Spanish rice, a curry rice, and a butter and herb rice. My family loves all of these, and I usually use them very frequently, like I've said. So we're gonna start off with, now I went and bought these two little ones at one of my stores here in town, and then I noticed Sam's Club had some too. Well, I very foolishly thought that these were still the small ones. And when I got them, they were these big, giant ones, which I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about these for a long time, as I bought one of each. Now, I've got the tomato one here. For the Spanish rice, I never used this. And I was like, well, because they really like the Spanish rice a lot, I went and bought it. But if you don't want to buy this, you can just use some tomato paste for this. All of my directions for these rice mixes will be in the show notes in the description box down below, so you can go ahead and do this. Now, I did a measuring cup. Every single one of these has 2 cups of rice. If you don't want to do 2 cups, because we are a family of 5, and sometimes my husband does go to work. Well, not sometimes, he goes to work 4 nights a week, but sometimes we will use these 2 cups so everybody can have enough rice. He can take some to work. If you are not a large family, you may certainly do these in pints, and then you can just cut the recipes then in half. These are in quart jars. And then if you want to do a pint jar with 1 cup of rice, just cut these in half, and then you'll be able to go ahead and do this. All of these ingredients here you should have at your house. If you do have a lot of spices, these are very well integrated into making these all up. They are very, very delicious. And let me go ahead and get started. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and do the rice one, and then I will just arrow you down so then you can see all the other ones on your own. So we are going to use 3 tablespoons of chicken bouillon. And I knew I wasn't going to have enough. That's why I brought out the other one. Now, what I'm going to do with these ones, I've already opened them all up. But what I'm going to actually do is I have my vacuum seal. So I'm going to put these in a different container and vacuum seal them. So then that way I don't have to put these in the freezer or anything like that. All right, so we got our 3 there. And then we got 1 tablespoon of dried parsley. Now you can also too mix this up a little bit if you don't like parsley. You know, you like cilantro, go ahead and use cilantro. You know, use what you have, but this is what I am following for the recipe. 2 teaspoons of onion powder. Okay, and then we are going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of thyme. I am just doing, even though this is a 1/2 teaspoon, I'm just going to do a little bit in here. And then 1 teaspoon of garlic. All right. And then what we normally do here is, I've got these online. I just use a dry erase marker. When you wash these, this will all come off, so it won't stay. And we're just gonna put these in here. And when you get ready to use them, I would still go ahead and give them a quick little shake. How I use these is, now I'll get my pan or my pot of water on the stove. You know, it's 4 cups of water to 2 cups of rice. So I will go ahead and do 2, or usually about a, I think this is 2 cups, but I usually just do 2 jars. So I'll pour this rice in, and then I do 2 full jars of this, the quart size, pour that in there. I put it on boil. Once it starts to boil, this works for me. It may not work for you. You have your own method. You want to use Instapot or anything like that, you go right ahead. I personally like to do it on the stove. So when I do that, once it starts boiling, I remove it from the heat and I just allow it to sit there and cook still on its own. Never remove that lid. You're gonna all that steam out. Let it stay there. As the 15-minute mark comes in, that's when you just get a spoon, then open up the lid, give it a good mix, give it a little taste. If it's perfect, which I've always had it, but that's my opinion, it's not crunchy at all. It's actually at that perfect temperature. We usually then take it right off the stove and then we eat. So that's how we usually do it. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and bring you in for the rest of the items so then you can see. I will go ahead and mark today's date on here, or the month at least, that I made these, so we know that there's a good for about 6 months to a year, and you just want to keep that in good rotation. Always make sure you mark your stuff, keep it in a cool, dry place if you're going to go ahead and store it much longer than that, or you can also vacuum seal it to keep up for about a year. So I'm going to go ahead and keep moving on, and I'm going to bring you along with me. All right, this is 2 tablespoons. I'm just going to do a little bit of both in here. 2 tablespoons of the beef. We're going to do 1 tablespoon of dried parsley. The rice, the chicken, and the beef are pretty much almost the same. We are going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I'm just going to put it a little bit in my hand. Okay, we're going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and then we just okay. All right, and then we're gonna also add onion powder. I kind of did mess this one up. I read the other one by accident. I was reading the onion soup. So I did add salt and pepper, but it's not a big deal because you are still gonna add salt and pepper to your rice normally at the very end. So I just gotta make sure I remember that. So it was 2 tablespoons of beef bouillon, 1 tablespoon of dried parsley, 1 teaspoon of onion powder. Did I do the onion powder? Probably not. There we go. All right. And then it was a 1/4 teaspoon of thyme. But again, like I said, I added some salt and pepper, but not a big deal. Okay. Now we're just going to go ahead and put these on. Again, everybody always adds salt and pepper to their rice when they're done. I just got to remember that the beef one already has a little bit in it. Okay, and I put this little towel down just in case I happen to spill any seasonings. It's much easier to go ahead and clean up. Now for this is the onion mix. I thought I had some pre-onion dried mix because I do normally keep that in stock, but apparently I did not. So I believe this is gonna be 3 tablespoons. I have a whole nother package over here. Yep, these are 3 tablespoons. So if you want to use the Lipton recipe, go right ahead. I am perfectly fine with using mine as well. All right, and then this is gonna call for a teaspoon of dried parsley. Then this is where it calls for the 1/2 teaspoon of salt and your 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the Spanish one. All right, so the Spanish one is 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder. Let me just go ahead and grab that now. I don't actually have chili powder. I just have my chili mix. I will use this all the time as my chili powder. Let's use 1/2 teaspoon. There we go. All right, then a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. We have a teaspoon of garlic. And like I said before, these are really good. My family loves all of this. 2 teaspoons of chicken bouillon. So let me go ahead and do this. Because I needed to fill up my spices anyway. So I says, well, I might as well do a video and getting rid of all this stuff. Now we got the 2 tablespoons of the tomato. Now again, like I said, if you don't have this tomato, you are certainly welcome to go ahead and just use tomato paste. Okay? And we do need cumin. I forgot to bring that one over. And, okay, and this one calls for a teaspoon of cumin in each. All right, perfect. This one's all done. I'm gonna move this aside. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and work on our curry. And then the curry is 1 tablespoon. I don't have any, or was that the next one? That was the next one, okay. So I do have a tablespoon of dry onion powder, 1 tablespoon of curry, now this is really good too, especially when you do it with like a curry chicken with a nice curry rice. Brings out the flavors. All right, and then we have a 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric. Whoops. And we need a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic. And then just don't mind the kitties. They're having a blast right now. They're in the middle of the Zoomies. I don't know if you can hear them in the background running all around. All right, that one's done. Now the last one here is the butter and herb. Now the butter and herb does ask for the dried onions, the diced, the dried flakes. I don't have any, so I'm just gonna substitute it with the powder. All right, so we're gonna use 1 tablespoon each for the chicken powder or chicken bouillon. We have a teaspoon of parsley. Well, that one I need basil. Okay, well then the onion flakes I don't have. So we're just gonna go ahead and, I was supposed to use a half a teaspoon. I just used a full, that's okay. And then garlic powder. All right, and let me go ahead and grab my, what was it? My basil. There it is, way in the back. All right, and my basil is 1 full teaspoon. Where did I, there it is. Now I like to buy my spices in bulk from Sam's Club. You can buy them wherever you need to buy them from. I just find that it's simpler for me because I can go there and pick it up and I don't have to wait for it. All right, let me go ahead and kind of clean this all up and put everything all together, and I'll bring you right back. All right, so I got pretty much everything all put away. I filled up the container. I'm just gonna go ahead and show you how we're gonna be doing this. That is quite full. The other ones I'm not gonna have really enough room for, I don't think. But I'm just gonna at least show you this one for now. So you go ahead and put the lid on from the, what do you call it? The canning lid. Having a brain fart here. You're gonna set this vacuum sealer down. You're gonna press the on button. You can hear it going. Now it's sucking all of the air out. And when it is done, it'll go ahead and release. All right, so yeah. So after I put all this in here, it's still going. You can see it, the numbers. It's at 64. Now it stopped at 70. So once it's done stopping, then all you're gonna do is just undo it. Whoop. Undo it. That was my bad. Now it is stuck on there and it's now vacuum sealed. Now when you want to use it, you're gonna grab, some people just use the back of a knife or anything like that, but I've got this, and you're gonna listen to that pop. And that was the seal that was just being broken. And now, then you can go ahead and, I'll just put it back in, but at least then that way it stays fresh and good to go till the next time that you use it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just finish cleaning this up. Just gonna go and put those all away. I just wanna say thank you so much for coming into my home today. If you like this video, go ahead and share and subscribe. I like doing some of these videos, so I'll probably do another one. I have a few more other like rice recipes that I've done before, other flavors besides these. And I know that I'm gonna be running low on some seasonings here real soon because summer's gonna be kicking in, and I really wanna go ahead and get some of those summer flavors ready for us when we go ahead and grill. We just got both of our propane tanks filled and we are ready for summer. I know it's Valentine's Day, but down here in Florida, we usually can cook outside all year long. So again, if you like this video, go ahead and like, share, but most importantly, go ahead and subscribe. Click that notification bell to get all of my current updates. In the meantime, I'll pop a couple videos here and here so you can go ahead and see my other videos until the next upload. Thank you so much and keep on cooking. Bye.